Hello, my name is Sanjay Mathur and I'm interviewing for the Scrum Master 4 position. The first question which they have asked me to answer is sometimes leaders are skeptical about changing their ways of working. Tell us about a time when you coached a skeptical leader and what was the outcome. So this is back in in 2018 timeframe at Wells Fargo. I was the Agile Transformation Champion and eventually became the Scrum Master Manager. uh, we were transitioning in commercial lending from BRDs, the waterfall method, to agile, basically, where for commercial lending, specifically for applications like Loan IQ and others, the product owners were writing business requirement documents, BRDs, for larger requirements which they had, for any requirement they had. And for larger requirements, they took a long time creating the BRDs. And my job was to coach them and transition them from using, instead of using BRDs, to writing epics and stories and using the tool Jira. uh, there was pushback and arguments against leaving BRDs because they thought that they had the opportunity to investigate the requirement, work with their end users, and design and describe their whole requirement end to end in a format which they were used to using. And what I had coached them, that with agile transformation they don't have to uh, define and actually design the whole requirement and go into solutioning as well with the users, and spend multiple weeks over that. Instead, they need to only focus on the what is the requirement from the business and put the idea and describe as much as possible in a high level epic. And then we take that requirements, and then we discuss it with our technology leaders and break those epics down into meaningful stories. The solutioning and the designing of the solution will be done by technology in conjunction and discussion in the refinement sessions which they had. So that this took a lot of convincing, and initially they were skeptical, but eventually the outcome was very positive and fruitful, and we came around and were able to uh, successfully write those epics, use Jira eventually, and transition to Agile. The second question given to me is, what have you done in the past to build trust with a new team, new stakeholders, or a new customer who did not seem to trust you initially? So I would quote the example of when I joined JP Morgan Chase as a product, in the product team, as doing product delivery management and leading the agility for product teams. So I was hired to introduce and lead agility for product. Technology was already doing very well at JP as far as using agility is concerned. So from product team perspective, how I gained that trust was that they were getting the requirements and they were using various different tools, case management tools, etc., to push the requirements down to technology, who was trying their best to use Jira. And so the requirement was not organized in the way that it was efficient for technology to take all those requirements and convert them into solutions. I had introduced the PI planning process of gathering the requirements for the quarter, and breaking down into epics for that quarter and prioritizing those epics, and then funneling those down to the technology team. And I think the success of those PI planning events, which I had once a quarter, and then repeatedly we visited on a monthly basis and refined the quarterly plan. So quarterly planning was done. And once I did it for 3 quarters, the trust was built into that process. There were a lot of recognitions for that process. So that's my answer for that question. And then share one thing that you as an agilist contribute, which constantly promotes good feedback. I would say that as an agilist at JP Morgan Chase, at this point I am leading the business banking Scrum teams, and I introduced the dashboards for sprint dashboard and release dashboards. So obviously the sprints are 2 weeks over here, and the release is on a monthly basis. In the dashboard, I am able to clearly, using the widgets, show them the goal of the sprint at the very top, that okay, in this sprint, what is the goal that we're trying to achieve in these 2 weeks? What are the stories which are selected, are listed down? For which epic do those stories belong to? How many story points have we assigned to each of the stories? What is the capacity of the team? All on one page as a dashboard. And then I had a tracker, a pie chart of the statuses of these stories, that how many are in open status, how many are closed, how many are in QA, etc. That gave a one page view. The dashboard in Jira gave a one page view where every day we could see where do we stand in those 2 weeks. And in the last 2-3 days, we would see that how many are in QA, how many, and then we can click on that and go into that, those stories, and review them, that why are they still in testing, or why are they not yet closed, or why are they in new status. So that helped the team a lot, which brought back good feedback. Thank you very much.